All right, and I will hand it over to Susie and Emily.
Good morning, everyone. We are so grateful that you could join us this morning. I'm going to share my screen so that I can show you some slides that we put together to better explain villages. Okay, there we go. Oops, but it's not starting from the beginning. Oh, darn. There we go. Act surprised when you see that screen, everybody. Okay. Thank you again for being here. My name is Emily Jones, and I'm the Executive Director of Northeast Seattle Together. And joining me on this presentation is Susie Chandler. She'll be going over, she's from Northwest Neighbors Network, and she'll be joining on the second half of the slide deck. This slide is just representative of some of the villages that are in the Seattle area. We weren't able to get, we would need 2 slides to get everyone's logos on there, but this is just a sampling. We have the East Side Neighbors Network, Iraqi Community Center of Washington, Northeast Seattle Together, Northwest Neighbors Network, the PNA Village, or Finney Neighborhood Association Village, South Whidbey at Home, Vashon Senior Center Villages, and Wider Horizons. So the demographics of aging. Beginning in 2030, all baby boomers will be older than 65, which means that that'll expand the size of the older population to the point where 1 in every 5 Americans is projected to be of retirement age. And you'll see here that the 85 plus crowd is the fastest growing portion of our population here in the United States. And they also predict that by 2035, older adults will outnumber children for the first time in US history. And this slide is from the AARP's 2021 Home and Community Preferences Survey. It was a national survey of adults age 18 and over. And I just really wanted to point out that the question on the left-hand side is, what I'd really like to do is remain in my community for as long as possible. And you'll see that those who responded 65 years and older, 63% of them strongly agreed with that sentiment. And on the right-hand side, you'll see that what I'd really like to do is stay in my current residence for as long as possible. And again, those 65 years and older, 66% of them strongly agreed with that. So there really is a push for people wanting to age in the place that they call home. And the components of successful aging, I was just sharing that yesterday there was an article in the Washington Post that was asking people asking their readers what aging well means to them. And I felt like, well, these components came up again and again, but there was one quote that I thought that really exemplifies what it is that villages are striving to do. This one reader from Rhode Island responded, "To age well, one needs appropriate housing, regular exercise and checkups, hobbies, a trusted handyman, and a good support system." And so these are all of the things that villages are here to help older adults in our areas accomplish. So you may ask, what is a village? They are a community-based model for aging in the area, like we previously mentioned, where one considers home. And some of these are location-based. Majority of the villages that are here today are based on a geographic or a neighborhood area, but we also have villages that are population-based, like the Iraqi Community Center of Washington, which you saw on the first screen. They are a grassroots membership organization, and truly volunteers are at the heart of the village. Villages provide affordable alternatives to social, educational, and practical day-to-day resources and services to assist members with the transitions of aging. The village movement started as a concept in the early 2000s in Boston as an alternative model for aging in place in the community. However, there's a saying that if you've seen one village, you've seen one village. There are so many different models. For example, some are volunteer-based, some have paid staff like mine, some have dues, others have, or I should say there's a ranging variety of dues that, forgive me, early morning. There's the way that the fee is based it varies from village to village. And then also the services respond to the needs of the members in that village. And some examples are transportation, running errands, light home maintenance, tech support, yard work. I always joke that if you need something done, we have a volunteer for that most of the time. Susie will go into that more in a minute. And Susie, I pass it on to you.
Thanks, Emily. Yeah, I mean, like Emily just said, volunteers, that center heart in this graphic, volunteers are really the heart and soul of what makes a village run versus some of the other community hubs we have through some of the senior centers joining us today or other community groups joining us today. Without those volunteers, we just wouldn't be able to run our village. So there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes. In the upper left-hand corner, you think about some of those volunteer services. Transportation, grocery shopping, things like that Emily mentioned. One key thing to remember is that villages cannot do anything that requires a license to run the service. So our insurance, which we provide for every one of our volunteers, is kind of what limits some of the things that we can and can't do. So we're not going to do a foot care clinic at the member's house. We're not going to do some of the things that they can go get through community-based services because we're sending volunteers to the member's house. Another key thing that we do in the villages is really looking at those wellness-related activities. Every village has different walks that they sponsor, and drives our members to some of the places that are happening at community centers. I know I saw Teresa there from the Shoreline Lake Forest Park Senior Center. And, you know, if a member wants to go and take part in exercise classes there, we drive them to and from those classes. So it's one of the cool things that our volunteers are able to do. And then those social connections, that purple box in the upper right-hand corner is really, you know, we're seeing the effects of the pandemic on social isolation, and anything that we can do, like Emily said, hey, we have a volunteer for that. If a member is asking for something to try to make a better social connection, we are going to try to find a way to do it. So finding out what's going on in the community is a big thing, so we can keep our members involved in that as well. Some of the other villages also have service provider referrals. Newer villages like us, we're only 3 years old. We haven't figured out that list of trusted vendors yet, but a lot of the villages have that as a great option for their members. Anything they can do to help them age well in home and be aware of the resources that a member might not automatically know about. I'm going to take you into the day in the life of villages in case you're kind of like, okay, we've heard about some of these services. What do they do? So just a few pictures on the next slide that'll show kind of, you know, what does that look like? So a member calls up, or there's usually a duty manager for each village, or a program manager, an executive director. They get a phone call or an email from a member, and they're like, hey, I really need a ride to and from the doctor's today. Well, sorry, in 2 weeks. We don't do same day service. Or, you know, Rick needs help tidying up his kitchen. So he gets in there and they're working together and having camaraderie while they're doing that tiny little extra chore that helps that member stay in their home. You know, taking Camilla shopping, grocery shopping, and getting her to and from the grocery store. Sprucing up a garden with Ruth. Not every volunteer wants to do this, but Rick McClure totally does. And we had a member request and say, hey, I really miss going to church and being able to carol and sing and do things with other people. And so one of our board members and another volunteer went, and we went to George's house, and everybody sang together. And it was like you see the joy on the faces, because the village volunteer can go to the member's home. Unlike some of the other services out there, we get that one-to-one. So that's just a quick little day in the life of what a village might do. So the next thing is kind of diving into, well, why villages? This village, what is that term? Why now? You know, and it's really all about what started 20 years ago back in Boston, as this thought of there must be some way to help my neighbor with that one little extra thing so they can really own their own ability to stay in their own home and be active and independent as long as they can. So villages send that trusted background checked volunteer to the member's home. And, you know, the members want just that little bit of extra that helps them stay there. And volunteers are like, I want to give back to my community. I want someone to be there for me when that, like Emily showed that first slide of the bubble, you know, we're all aging, we're all getting there. So like, if I volunteer now, maybe I'll have some help down the road as these models continue to grow. You know, 20 years ago, there was one, and now there are over 300 villages across the nation like ours. So when I think about where we're going to be, you know, just beginning to understand the impacts of the pandemic on seniors. I know everyone from a senior center, community center, or village on this call knows that we're seeing the tip of the iceberg on social isolation. So how can we grow together and kind of think about, you know, we've got people more connected via technology now. If they have computers at home, they have more options with Zoom to connect with other people. But I'm going to ask you, whoever, when we get to the Q&A section, kind of think about this. What, you know, if you're in a senior center, what are trends are you seeing for in-person attendance? Are your members still hesitant about coming in and taking part in services? What are some of the new options that we could maybe discover together and say, how can we get to be partnering together and get rid of this, you know, start to chip away at the impact of the pandemic and get people back in the community and getting the support that they need. And speaking of partnerships, I think there's sometimes been a sense of like, well, the senior center and or this community center, they're opposing to what a village model can be. And I don't see it that way at all. I see is that ability for us to kind of group together and figure out how we can do more things together. Like one of the things that my village does is we pay for a 1-year membership fee to the senior center that our member lives in. What are other ways that we can break down those barriers and say, we're the component of going to a member's house. How can we get them out and engage in activities in their community? Like that first slide that Emily showed with, you know, the people that want to stay in their own community. We're all part of a big old community. So I want to figure out a way that we can challenge ourselves to get to that place where we're partnering together. So some of the villages that we have here today, and other villages that are not part of they're part of the Greater Seattle Villages Task Force that Teresa runs, but there's a big expanding group. So one of the things that we want to do is, whether you point down to this village to village network site on the bottom of the slide, or go specifically to each of the villages in your community, or some of the villages that are population based, you know, where are all these villages? Where are they located? We've got South Whidbey way up there in the north, and we've got Vashon the furthest in the south, and we continue to grow and expand. So it's funny to kind of look at the map sometime and look at different service areas. So if you ever have a question, just reach out to one of us and go, hey, is that Northwest Neighbors Network, or is that PNA? Where am I? Where does my client live? So that's locations. And then I think the final slide, there we go, location-based versus some of the villages are partially funded by Veterans Senior Human Services Levy funding. And we have the Eritrean Association, the Filipino villages, the Iraqi Community Center. I think I saw Hamza on the call today. And the Ukrainian population-focused villages. So those are more centered those are all in King County, obviously, because they're funded by King County. But in here, you've got a bigger, broader group. So I think that's it. And I think we're going to hand it back to Teresa and do a little panel and hear what your questions might be. So thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Emily and Susie. That was great. All right. Yeah. So we're going to move on to the panel portion and Q&A portion. So I think what we're going to do first is go around and have each village that's represented on this call introduce themselves, state the name of your village, and tell us what the area or population is that you serve. So I am going to start with Northeast Seattle Together, or NEST.
Hi again, I'm Emily Jones, and as the name gives away, we serve Northeast Seattle. We are east of I-5, north of the Ship Canal, and all the way out to the water. And then our north limit is 110th, right by Northgate. And do you want me to call out the next person, or are you doing it, Teresa?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and
Okay.
well, if people on the call who are from NEST also want to introduce themselves, you can do that now.
I'm Don DeSaulnier, and I'm associated with NEST and a full member and former board member.
Great, and Nancy?
I'm Nancy Nordquist, and I'm on the board for NEST and a full member and a volunteer.
All right, great, thank you. Let's do Wider Horizons.
Hi, I'm Ann Lawrence and an active member of our community and a board member. And our area is from the Ship Canal down to the Mount Baker neighborhood, and then some other people who, because of the Zoom age, even as far away as Portland, find us irresistible. So that's wonderful. And Denise Klein is also here. Hi, Denise.
Okay, great, thank you. Let's go to the Finney Neighborhood Association, or PNA.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm with the PNA Village, the program manager there, and our service area goes west of I-5 down to the Ship Canal and up to 145th Street.
All right, great, thank you. Let's do Northwest Neighbors Network.
Hi, I'm Susie Chandler. I'm the board president, and Northwest Neighbors Network has 2 counties. We in King County, we're Shoreline and Lake Forest Park, and we touch down on that 145th Northgate. I mean 110th Northgate. I'm making my service area bigger. Stop it. And then it's Snohomish County, we're Edmonds, Linwood, Montlake Terrace, and over to Briar, with few people from Bothell going, let us join. But we're not there yet.
All right, thank you. Let's do Eastside Neighbors Network.
Hi, I'm Jean Garber, and I'm president of the board. And we serve basically Bellevue, but we have some members from nearby Redmond and Kirkland.
All right, great. And Vashon.
Hi, I'm Maria Glanz, and I'm the program manager of the villages here with the Vashon Senior Center. So we are affiliated with the Senior Center, and our service area is all of Vashon and Maury Islands. And I apologize, my office light just went out, so I'm a little bit in the dark. And we have someone from our Senior Center board here. John is here today. Thank you, John.
Great, thank you. All right, Iraqi Community Center.
Hi, my name is Hamza, and I'm the Senior Program Coordinator in the Iraqi Community Center of Washington. We are serving King County, members at King County.
All right, thank you. Any other villages present on this call that you'd like to introduce yourselves?
Hi everyone, this is Mohammed. I work with the Somali Family Safety Task Force, and the area we serve, South Seattle area, Tukwila, Kent area, and generally Seattle.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, well, let's move on to questions. If you have questions, you can either physically raise your hand, raise it in Zoom, or type a question in the chat. And if we don't have questions, we have some prepared questions already for you. So why don't we just move into that? So probably the biggest one you're wondering is, how much does it cost to participate in a village? As Emily and Susie mentioned, it varies. So I'm going to go around the villages again, and please give us just a brief overview of your cost structure. So let's go with Nest again.
We have 2 levels of membership, what we call our builder member, because you're helping build the foundations for our other members. That's more of a social access to all of the social events. And that starts at $350 for a household. And then we have our full access, which means that you also have access to all of our volunteers and the help that they can provide. And that is $650 for an individual and $975 for a household. And we do have scholarship options available too.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's do Wider Horizons.
Yes, ours is similar to what Emily just described. Our single pay member is $600, and then a family or a couple is $900, and there's also scholarships for our community.
All right, thank you. PNA?
Thank you. We have the same levels that Emily mentioned. We have full membership and we have builder membership. For a full member who can request volunteer services for a single person in the household, it's $360 for the year. And we do work on a sliding scale as well, so that it's affordable for anyone who would like to join.
All right, thank you. Let's do Eastside Neighbors Network.
Okay, we are a smaller village. Right now, our memberships are for a couple $300 for the full membership and $150 for the social. We have most people selecting the full membership, but we are heavily social at this time. We did, for 1 year, we suspended dues during COVID because our activities were so limited, but we are back to collecting dues now.
All right, thank you. Northwest Neighbors Network.
We also have a social program. It's $120 per year. And if you're a household, we suggest a membership fee of $50 for the household. And we also have scholarships available. We call it based on what you can afford.
Okay, Vashon.
We are incredibly fortunate because the village program here has been funded to get started and build and get going by the King County Veteran Seniors and Human Services Levy, which I always have to go through letter by letter. So we don't have any dues at present and are looking forward to continuing that at least through the end of 2023. And then we will hopefully have more funding or see what happens.
All right, thank you. Rocky Community Center.
Same thing as Maria, we don't have any fee for be a member in the village because we have the same fund by levy. So we don't request anything, at least at the meantime. After 2023, we don't know what's going on. Maybe if we get more funds, we will continue to be free. Otherwise, I think we will have to be, there will have to be a fee. But right now, we don't want to do that.
All right, thank you. Somali Family Safety Task Force.
Yeah, so we don't have any fee right now because it's a low income community and we just gonna encouraging people to come to our programs. We have more than 100 seniors, but at some point we're gonna talk to them, but right now because of inflation and food prices are going up, people cannot afford.
Teresa?
Yeah. Yes.
I will say something just popped into my head in conversations with one of our neighborhood villages here on Vashon. Those folks have already spoken up about the fact that they know people on Vashon who have more wealth than others, who they know would provide scholarships for those who could not afford it. So I can see that being an absolute avenue for us in the future as well, should we need it.
Great, thank you. All right, next question is, how do I get involved with the village? So let's do Nest.
I think that's my question. And to become involved or become a member of a village, there are a number of different ways of doing that, depend on the organizational structure of the village. For example, at Nest, we have an executive director and an operations director, and one would reach out to probably our operations director or either to inquire about becoming involved with Nest, either as a volunteer or as a builder or full member. There was a list towards the end of the slide presentation of contact sources for the different villages. Emails would also work. So either phoning or emailing the village and just finding out, what is involved in becoming a volunteer or becoming a member, and what is your village all about. That would be the best way to do that, is to reach out directly to each village.
Okay, thank you. Wider Horizons.
Yes, I think our model so far, and Denise, I hope you'll speak up too, has been friends of friends. It's, it's sort of the ripple effect that people that are part of our community are talking about what they do together. And I think that's something that spreads very quickly. But I think the actual steps of becoming a member, it's usually involves a conversation with Denise, who's our wonderful executive director. So what have you found particularly helpful, Denise?
Well, people come to us from the website. That could be a way of initiating a query about joining, and then an appointment, with myself and or another village member to find out more about the village. Or people may, like Ann says, if they found out through a friend, they might just email or telephone.
All right, thank you. PNA.
We have a website, finneycenter.org/village, and you can go there and you can join and you can pay right there. That's the easiest way for a lot of people. Or if you're not an internet person, you can call us. We'll send you paperwork in the mail or talk to you in person if you'd like. And then if you're interested in a reduced fee option, just give us a call and we can work out a fee that feels good to you.
All right, thank you. Eastside Neighbors Network.
We're very much like the other organizations where it's word of mouth. It's they see something, a mailing, an email mailing we send out, or they see something posted and they give us a call or they contact us by email.
All right, Northwest Neighbors Network.
We have the same website and website info. Go click on how to join, whether it be member or volunteer. Actually, our number one way that we do get new members is through fire departments, social workers, senior centers, different groups that are just, they know that we can help that person age well in their own home. So a lot of it is through community connections.
Okay, Vashon.
Yes, same as everyone has been speaking about. We've got a website and folks can enroll via the website. They can fill out volunteer applications via the website, or they can call and talk to me. I'm based here at Vashon Senior Center. And we're right now, I'm working with a core group, really trying to empower the villagers to carry the message about the villages so that they can be a really good first point of contact. And then of course, direct them here for official stuff and all of that. Thank you for saying that, Susie, about the fire departments and all of that. I'm going to make a note of that. That's a really great thing to let those organizations know about us.
All right, Iraqi Community Center.
Okay, so we have the same thing, that's friends to friend relationship with the client and volunteer. We also have the website, and the website contain all the information about the village program. Also, it's contain my phone number. So many people call me and ask if they want to do a volunteer or if they want to be a client. I mean, a member for the village. Then we set appointment with them, ask them about their needs, ask them about what they want to do, like members or volunteer, and do intake form, put a file for them with the village, and then they can start immediately. I also have, I don't know if you all familiar with that program. We have a Viber. It's a call program on the phone. It's up on the phone. You can add the people that you have on the village. So I have all the members of the village in a group in the Viber. And when I said any information regarding any gathering, regarding any activity we are doing, I send a message for all the people in this. So this is how we communicate together.
Okay, thank you. Somali Family Safety Task Force.
Yeah, so we use WhatsApp and flyers, distribute some of these flyers to in the halal grocery stores, because people go there and they do shopping, and others like the mosque. Some of these participants, they come to our programs like grocery. When they pick up groceries, so we distribute flyers, and they take some flyers home, and then they share with their family members or community members. So that's how we recruit our senior in our program, and we have more than 100 senior right now in our program.
Great, thank you. That leads us into our next question. How many people are in your village? So let's go back to Nest.
Right now, we have 175 members and 126 volunteers.
All right, Wider Horizons.
Yes, we have, I think it's 108, Denise, is that correct?
Okay, and PNA?
We have about 200 members and about 200 volunteers, and there is also some overlap there because members also like to volunteer.
All right, Eastside Neighbors Network. Nope, you're on mute, Jane.
We are small, so we have 36 members, and we have about 4 in the pipeline right now. 4 more.
Okay, great, thank you. Northwest Neighbors Network.
Sorry, I'm pulling up that slide from our latest report from our membership committee. We have 250 people altogether. It's like we hit over 150 members this year. And but like everybody else says, there's a lot of overlap. We have a lot of members that also love to volunteer. So yeah, good growth, even despite that silly pandemic.
All right, thank you. Vashon.
Like Eastside, we're small and growing. So I think we have 34 registered members right now and 16 vetted volunteers, and there's overlap in that as well. And it's interesting because we're at a senior center. I have got a core group of probably about 6 people helping and leaning in who haven't yet registered. So it's a growing and kind of porous community at this point.
Okay, thank you. Iraqi Community Center.
We have about 86 members, and many of them are volunteering to help each other with transportation and some services. And also all the staff here, we have about 20 volunteers.
Okay, great. And the Somali Family Safety Task Force.
Yeah, we have around 110 participants in the senior program.
Okay, great. Thank you. And this one, we won't go around to everyone, but if someone wants to respond to it, I know Susie and Emily briefly touched on this in their presentation, but can you further elaborate how are villages different from senior centers?
I'll jump in first on that one. And I forgot to mention with Nest, when you talk about becoming a member, obviously we have as many of you do, a membership link on the website where you can go in there and join online. So Susie did touch upon this, and I'll start with respect to that question by emphasizing, as she did, trying to strike a balance to complement senior centers and virtual villages and working together as partners in that regard. With that in mind, a senior center is typically a physical space that one can go to for assistance and support. And with a virtual village, as you've gleaned from the presentation so far, you have a range of support services that the villages provide that don't require you to physically go anywhere. Many of these support services are provided directly to the members in the place they call home by volunteers who, as has been mentioned already, are at the heart of the village. And examples of how you can be supported in place would be getting a ride, such as to the grocery store or a doctor's appointment, or having somebody help you with yard maintenance or minor repairs through a vetted vendor, or just having somebody to sit down with you, have a cup of coffee and talk. So the nice thing about a virtual village is the ability to be where you are and not necessarily have to go anywhere in order to get support, assistance, and guidance.
All right, thank you. Anyone else want to add to that?
Sure, I'll jump in. I think about this a lot because we're villages associated with the senior center. And there's a couple of things to share. One is the overall concept is taking the senior center out beyond the walls of the senior center and into the community. And here on Vashon, we are such a geographical area because we're an island, and there are very distinct kind of neighborhood pockets and community groups that identify as their own hubs. So really, I think what we're trying to do with the villages is go out and support those neighborhood hubs so that the volunteers who all live in Liza Beulah neighborhood and the villagers who live in Liza Beulah neighborhood can easily connect with each other. And we're leaning in and trying to support those connections in growing. And they can always come to the senior center as well, or call the senior center. But it's really about strengthening the community connections that are out there and reaching the folks who may or may not be interested in coming in here to the senior center. The other thing we're looking at doing, especially next year, is the senior center itself has programs like our Neighbor to Neighbor program, which is a volunteer program that is almost exactly like what the villages do. So we're really looking at folding that program into the villages program. So making what we do here work more, efficiently. How's that for the right word?
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Anne?
Yeah, I think the model, and I'm sure it overlaps with other people's as well, is to help facilitate relationships between people, not just doing things for, but the doing things with others. That as we age, our pool of people depletes because, that people move away or they pass away. And I think this replenishes that wonderful pool of people that you can easily, and I think the operative word is easily, connect with, because starting new relationships becomes harder as we age in place, because even though we're independent, we may not be as lively or outreaching or be able to start something. So the village model helps things, the circulation of relationships. And I have found it wonderful to meet people and get to know people and hang out. And you can't always determine chemistry. And that happens naturally when you end up doing things together, either in the kitchen or taking walks or gardening. And so that's a one-on-one thing that I think has really been enhanced through my activities anyway in the village.
Right. Yes. Thank you. The social connections are so important. Okay. My last question here is, if you can give us one short story of how your village has benefited your community and its participants. So let's go to Nest.
I'll jump in on that one. First of all, I'll just start with saying that some of the best experiences that people have are through the member-created supports and activities that we have at Nest. And Anne made a comment about engagement, and that is really critically important. And so the fact that we have members that create the activities that they want is important. We have soup groups, support groups of wide variety. I'll just give one as an example, and Emily won't be surprised at this. Pickleball. Pickleball is a great sport. It's the state of Washington official sport. And that was created from members and the operations staff thinking, this would be kind of cool to have a pop-up pickleball court on Friday morning and afternoon to have people come together. And what has emerged from that is not just members of Nest playing pickleball, but it pulled in the community surrounding where we're located at the Wedgwood Presbyterian Church on 35th and 80th. Most of the people actually that are playing are people that were attracted to it by seeing people playing pickleball out in back of in the parking lot behind the church where Nest is located and joining in. So we're pretty excited about that. And I have not been able to come for many Fridays because I've got a new job at a YMCA that is bumping up against my Friday pickleball experience. So, but my shifts might be changing soon, and I might be able to get in the afternoon there. We'll see.
Got to rearrange your priorities there, Don.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
All right. Thank you. Wider Horizons.
Yeah, I'll mention one thing, and maybe Denise will have some others. I've been so impressed with how the needs of one or two people or desires get met and groups get started. There's a low vision group that in the last year has been started because of the needs of a few people, but because they voice them, they have their own self-generated group, and that happens a lot within Wider Horizon, that someone will say, oh, wouldn't it be nice if? And then because Denise is so good at making things happen, all of a sudden they're going forward. Does anything else come to mind, Denise?
Yeah, I'll mention two things. One of them is happening tomorrow. I was interpreting Teresa's question as maybe a little broader. What are we doing that benefits the community beyond ourselves? And so tomorrow we're having the first ever all members of visual art show, and it's in a public space and the public is invited. And that was, I had nothing to do with that really at all. The members put it together completely. The other thing that I also had nothing to do with was something called a democracy action group. And you kind of probably can tell from the name of it what people are up to. They're doing organizing and electoral activities, supporting each other, doing them together, and so forth and so on.
Great, thank you. And yes, the question can be and or, you know, a story about how the village has impacted the greater community, or just an anecdote of one particular member, you know, how it benefited them. So I'll move on to PNA.
I was also going to talk about our member created events and activities that happen. We recently had a member in Ballard who wanted to create a walking group, but he's not interested in strenuous exercise. He wants to stop along the way and enjoy some things. And so we started with his help, what's called the Ballard Walking and Stopping Group. And they just had their first outing, and he reported back and said they walked a little bit, then they went to a bakery, and then they had coffee, and then they continued on their walk. And he was just thrilled that he had about 6 people to do that with. So it's really cool.
Great. Sounds like my kind of walk. Eastside Neighbors Network. You are muted, Jean.
I think because we are small that we have really developed intimate friendships with most of the group, but we also do have the volunteer things. And one of the interesting things that we had during the pandemic was we had one woman who is blind, and she was trying to put together for her son, who is turning 30, a family tree, and going back and researching it far back. And so we had 2 other people who they coordinated online, and they produced actually a book that they got bound of the family history for our one member to give to her son. But they did it to all 3 together. Even the blind woman was doing this too. So
great. All right, let's see, Northwest Neighbors Network.
I'll go community focused and talk about our first 3 years really were focused on trying to make strong connections in our community. So our outreach team was looking at who are the people that are referring us. That's why, Maria, I brought up the fire departments and, you know, slip and fall hazards. Someone gets called to a senior's house and they realize that we could help them. Social workers in our senior centers that are in our community, we have relationships with each of them, and they are often coming in and going, hey, here's someone that we used to see in the senior center that we're not seeing anymore. What's going on with them? It's just interesting. We meet one little nugget of a person, and all of a sudden all these extra connections are coming out on people that are aware of your village and how you can help that member stay in and age in their own community. So outreach is a big deal, and I think we often get so busy we don't spend the time on it, and we don't have the time, but we try. So that's a big one for us.
All right, thank you, Vashon.
Sure, I'll share one thing about our Liza Beulah Village. It's a little area here on Vashon. And this is really doesn't have anything to do with anything I've done, because they have just taken it and made it sing on their own. They've had at least 3 neighborhood gatherings in the last year that are really intergenerational and lovely. I went to their big potluck, and that was amazing. It wasn't just seniors, but it's the young folks who we're looking to lean on to being volunteers. And they, their neighborhood kind of matriarch who hosted an annual street dance for years ended up, she passed away this summer. And the community, it really came together to support her in that journey and to join her in saying goodbye. And that was a really beautiful thing to witness. And then the other thing I'll share, it just popped into my mind. We just had the first gathering of what we're calling our town village, people who live kind of here in central Vashon town. And it was quite a small gathering. It was just 4 of us, but we sat and talked for over an hour and a half about everything to do with aging, what it's like to be aging at different points here on Vashon. I'm a member of our villages because I'm over 55. 3 of us were divorced single parents, ranging from 57 to 84. And it was a really great connection. Everybody left feeling more filled up than when they came in. And that's what I think, what I hope will happen for all of the villagers.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you. Rocky Community Center.
So for me, for my village, I think it's a little bit different because for our members, they have the language barrier, so they were really isolated. So my goal was to break the shell, making new friends, make them feel comfortable dealing with others here, know what's their rights. So what I was working on is to bring the community together. So we were working on weekly gathering for all members, bringing to the table all what's going on, like workshops, like information, resources. We used to provide them with any news that we know. Also, one of the things that's so regarding this point, I feel like I success because all of them are friends right now. They used to do gathering at their homes. They break their shells. They are not alone anymore. This is my part. For them, they used to have groups in the community center here in our organization building. They used to do knitting groups. They do a lot of knitting works. And then when they are done, they do donation to the other organization who help homeless people. This is a simple of the things that they are doing. We have a lot of activities like writing, reading together, talking about what's going on, reading books, walking groups, knitting groups, a lot of things.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you. Somali Family Safety Task Force.
Yeah, so we have one senior in our program, and he led a group of 8 people from the community who created children's stories. And that was like 8 weeks program, and they created 6 children's stories. And these stories are basically connected to Seattle and Somalia. And it's basically to reduce the intergenerational gap between the parents and the kids. So that was something really creative, he did, and he helped them, the group edit those stories, rewrote those stories, and change. It was 8 weeks long session, and they work on it, and that's something amazing he did. So those books we have sent to the printing, and hopefully next month we're gonna get all those books, and we're gonna distribute those books to the community.
That's great. Wonderful, tangible, lasting memory. That's great. All right. Any other questions? No. Okay. Well, I'm going to have Susie pull up the contact slide again with emails for all of the various villages. All right, there it is. So if you're looking to get in touch with anyone, feel free to reach out. And if you're not sure who exactly you are supposed to be contacting, I'm going to put my email address in the chat. Feel free to contact me and I can point you in the right direction. But thank you again, everyone, so much for participating, for our lovely presenters. And again, this is being recorded. The PNA will be sharing it on our website and we'll be distributing it to the other villages as well to share with their communities. So thank you so much again. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.